Hello everybody, this is Chaos with Chaos Esports Productions, bringing you another Back to the Basics series game. Today we're going to be looking at Zerg versus Terran openings, and we're going to have a little bit of a discussion on what we need to be thinking about as our wonderful Zerg friends. So, first things first, always send out your Overlord to your opponent's natural. Standard. Get your hotkeys all squared away. You want your hatchery on one, and then you also want your location hotkeys all set up. So, Zerg versus Terran. Now, in general, this matchup is kind of the most unique matchup that there is, just because Terrans tend to play very, very turtley, whereas Zerg are more outgoing little creatures, loving to expand far and wide as quickly as possible. So, things that we need to worry about here in the opening. Now, you've kind of got one of two options. You can go for kind of the safer style, where you're going for a pool first, just in case your opponent does go for that early Reaper harass, or you can go for the 15 hatch, 15 pool, 15 gas type style. Personally, I tend to play with the 15 hatch style just because it has a lot more flexibility when you get into the mid game. Now, I'm only really going to talk about the first 6 or 7 minutes of this, because that is kind of where all of the key decisions and the key scouting points happen. You want to make sure that you're very, very aware at what your opponent's doing and have a really good idea as far as what options your opponent has. So now with this build, I tend to go for a very, very late drone scout, preferably around the 16 or 17 mark. This way I can go in. Usually the Overlord takes way too long to get to your opponent's natural to see how quickly he's taking his expansion, or whether or not he's going for an expansion at all. So throwing out the drone scout is going to give you a lot of flexibility and give you kind of that mobility as far as what your opponent is doing. Now, in the case that your opponent isn't going for a super early gas, the only problem with this build is obviously you've got this wonderful Marine that loves to harass your drone. Now, I tend to at least try and get to the back of the mineral line at the very least, and make sure, obviously you want to get a good idea of how many gases your opponent's taking and what the timings are on them. Now, I come in here and try to poke with his SCV a little bit, and that really doesn't get me a whole lot of places because the Marines just take me out. So, at this point, we're feeling pretty good. Since we have seen that our opponent is going for 2 gas, we know that he is going to be teching up fairly quickly, and we know that as a function of getting this early expansion, he's going to be more focused on his economy and things like that. So we're pretty safe to go ahead and drone up. Now, I went ahead and got a handful of lings just to deny any of this type of scouting. Just a random SCV kind of coming in here doing shenanigans. Basically, yeah, we're just going to be getting our queens up, doing our injects, and basically focusing on getting speed and start looking at where we're going to go into the mid game. We're in a pretty good position, and actually I would say this is kind of the turning point where you say, okay, am I going to be aggressive, or am I going to sit back and macro up even further? Obviously you can see 9 drones coming down the way, getting my roach warren down, starting to tack up and kind of move into that mid game unit composition that we're looking for. So go ahead and plant down a spine crawler, because I haven't done too terribly much scouting besides this single Overlord. Now, the Overlord does scout the 3rd gas already having been taken, which means he is looking to go for kind of a mech air type play. So definitely need to be a little bit cautious about that, and our lings are going to go out on the field just so we can get an idea of any timings or things like that. And then behind us, we're going to be getting up our 2nd gas and starting to look toward teching up to lair, getting our roach speed and things like that. Now, at this point, since we really haven't seen anything, we have gotten a handful more lings just to see, if we can poke in, maybe get a little bit of damage done. But overall, this is the turning point. This is where we start to go into the later stages of the game, started to kind of round out our tech tree and move on. And this is where the flexibility of Zerg kind of rolls in. You know, at this point, we can start to take a third. We can start to get our upgrades going. We can start looking at what is our end game composition, what are we up against, and what are we going to be focusing on as far as what we're looking toward for the composition. So this is about the time. Usually I'll get my second gas and get the lair going, and then once the lair finishes, I'll go ahead and get my third and fourth gas to get myself into the position of, okay, maybe I want to tech up to hive real quick, or maybe I want to just go ahead and get 2-2 upgrades as quickly as possible, and things like that. So this is kind of where you need to, as a Zerg player, figure out, okay, what am I going for? What are my goals? What type of composition do I like playing with? And just kind of go with it, because Zerg really can be the tempo setter of the game. By that, you can be the aggressive one. You can, you know, as long as your larva injects are good, you can continue on aggressing, and basically the only limitation you're going to have is your income. So, you know, you can go ahead and take your third, you can go ahead and move into that later stage. So I hope this opener has helped you guys out. Feel free to leave any comments down in the comment section below. I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions down there. Also, feel free, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down there below the video. Also, feel free to like and share on Facebook and Twitter with all your friends who might be trying to play Zerg. And I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you guys in the next game.